Organization has declared the coronavirus outbreak a public health emergency of international concern.
Italy's government has overnight announced a massive shutdown across the country. Around 16 million people are now in quarantine.
One person with coronavirus in King County, Washington State, has died. This now makes the first coronavirus death confirmed in the U.S.
Signing the 2 articles of impeachment, one for abuse of power, the other for obstruction of Congress.
Thousands continuing to shelter in evacuation centres. The terrifying scale of Australia's bushfire disaster is beginning to emerge.
About 1 million people in 45 districts in the Spanish capital are now under a lockdown enforcement by police checkpoints.
An imaginary border has been in place in Madrid.
As misinformation and so-called fake news continues to be rapidly distributed on the internet, our reality has become increasingly shaped by false information.
Today, financial markets suffered historic losses. The Dow falling almost 3,000 points, the biggest one-day point drop of all time.
A national shortage of personal protective equipment.
The president cuts ties with the World Health Organization.
Some members of the Michigan State Legislature are wearing bulletproof vests today.
Murder hornets invading the U.S. and Canada.
QAnon's baseless conspiracy theories is seeping dangerously into the American mainstream.
The highest unemployment rate in the U.S. since the Great Depression.
Food lines are now essential.
Police using deadly force.
When the looting starts, the shooting starts.
The first time in more than half a century, New Yorkers were under a curfew.
Tear gas was used to remove peaceful protesters
using military-style tactics.
The president was rushed to an underground bunker.
More than 300 journalists have faced press freedom violations.
A massive explosion has torn through the Lebanese capital, Beirut.
Mailboxes and mail sorting machines are being removed in an attempt to undermine the Postal Service before the election.
With the state of emergency in California as historic heat fuels dangerous wildfires.
Stand back and stand by, now a rallying cry.
COVID-19 death toll has now surpassed 1 million.
Authorities erected a non-scalable fence surrounding the White House.
ICU bed capacity now plunging down to 0%.
Yemen is at risk of the worst famine the world has seen in decades.
Voter suppression, purposely making it harder for some people to cast their ballot.
To conserve oxygen, focus needs to be on patients with a greater chance of surviving.
An assault on democracy.
Domestic terrorists incited by the president stormed the U.S. Capitol.
Anti-vaccine protesters have targeted the health minister's office.
The president's facing now for his second impeachment trial.